Hello and welcome to Copilot 1. My name's Jeff, I'm glad you're here. Let's just jump right in. In this short video, we're going to get introduced to Copilot and we're going to see how we can use it for commanding or executing commands within our workbook. So let's start with the first exercise. Exercise 1. All right, here I have some table data. It's got some accounts and actual and budget values. Now I want to use Copilot to help me create some calculated columns. So I go to Home, Copilot. The first thing I notice is I need to have autosave turned on. So I'm going to go ahead and turn on autosave. And by the way, at this time, Copilot is a licensed product and it's not available in every Excel version. So your version of Excel may not have this Home Copilot button. So my prompt will be something simple like add a variance column and enter. All right, so it comes back and suggests a formula. It talks about the variance between actual and budget. It provides a sample formula that I could copy. It also shows some preliminary results. But what I can also do is just say, go ahead and insert that column. When I hover over the button, I get a preview of that variance column. If it looks good, I can click Insert Column. And if I don't like it, I could always undo. Now what's nice is this is a formula. So if I add new values to my table, this formula will fill itself down. Now let's tell it to add a variance percent column. Here it comes back with an explanation. Calculates the percentage variance by comparing the actual amount to the budget amount. It provides a sample formula that I could copy and paste, or I could just insert column. And let's click that. And now we've got it. And if I didn't like it, I could click undo. All right, so that's the first example of using Copilot to help us create calculated columns. Let's go to the next exercise. Exercise 2. All right, here I have a transaction ID, a quantity, and a price. And what I'd like to do is add an extended column. Let's see if Copilot can do this for us. Copilot, add an extended column. Enter. And here it comes back with extended price, calculates the total price for each transaction by multiplying the quantity of items by their individual price. It gives me a recommended formula that I could copy paste. It gives me a preview, and it also gives me an insert column button. Let me click that, and if I scan through these results, this looks about right. Now let's add a tax column at 5%. All right. And here it comes back with tax, calculates the tax for each transaction by multiplying extended price by tax rate. I could copy paste, I get a preview, or I can just insert column. And as I spot check these look about right. Now let's do a shipping column. I'll say add a shipping column. Shipping is free if quantity is less than 5. Otherwise, it is $10 flat. Enter. Once again, it gives me a little explainer. It gives me a formula I can copy paste, or I can just insert the formula. And if I spot check these, let's see if it works here. This quantity is 1, which is less than 5, so it's free. This quantity is 10, which is $10. And this is not less than 5, it's equal to 5, so that's $10. And all of these other ones look correct as well. And now let's have it add a total column. Once again, it gives me an explainer that it should include extended tax and shipping, which looks good. I could copy paste, I get a preview, and I can insert column. And as I spot check these look about right. And that's another example of using Copilot to help us create calculated columns where we can even describe a little bit more detail about what the math needs to be. Let's go to the next exercise. Exercise 3. All right, here I have a single column that includes the full name as well as the address. And I'd like to have Copilot help me extract certain values. So Copilot. And here I'll say extract first name. Okay, here it gives me an explainer. It gives me a formula I could copy paste. It gives me a preview. That looks right. So I'm just going to insert column. And as I spot check these look about right. Now I'm going to say add a city column. Okay, when I check out this preview, it looks about right. So I'm just going to insert the column. And what's nice about this solution is that these are formulas. So as I type or paste new values, these formulas are going to automatically be extended down for new rows. All right, so those are a few examples of how to use Copilot for commanding and helping you add calculated columns. So I hope this is helpful. Thanks for joining me. Have a great day. Hello and welcome to Copilot 2. My name's Jeff. I'm glad you're here. Let's just jump right in. In this short video, we're going to see how Copilot can help us understand the data in our workbooks. Let's just go ahead and move into the first exercise. Exercise 1. In this exercise, we have a table with a bunch of transactions. They have a transaction ID, a region, a rep, an item, and an amount. And we'd like to ask Copilot to help us understand this data. Copilot. And we can type in our prompt here. But before I do, we can also view some sample prompts. And these are categorized under Create, Understand, Edit, and Ask. If I click on Understand, I get a sense of the type of prompts it's expecting. So what I can do here is I can say, what is the total revenue for each region? All right, it comes back with a built-in graph and also a little explainer. I'm going to go ahead and add this graph to a new sheet. And now what we can see is that it actually built a pivot table first and then created this chart. And that way we get both a table and a graph view. And basically this is a first pass. And I can always now manually edit this pivot table or this graph as desired. So this is really cool, especially if I'm an Excel user who doesn't really know that there is a feature called pivot tables or how to use the chart feature. Let's go to the next exercise, exercise 2. Here I have an employee list. It shows their employee ID, first name, last name, street, city, state, zip, department ID, and department. And I want to get Copilot to help me understand how many different employees are there for each department. Copilot. How many different employees are there in each department? Okay, and it comes back with a preview and also a little text breakdown, which I could copy. If I want to insert this into a new sheet, I'll click Add to a new sheet. And here I can see this provides the distinct count of employees for each department. That's exactly what I wanted to know. All right, so with that, let's go to the next exercise. Exercise 3. In this exercise, we have a table that has a bunch of transactions for items, quantities, price, and cost. We'd like Copilot to help us understand these transactions. Copilot. Okay. What are the top 3 items in terms of sales quantity? All right, here it gives us this little preview. It also gives us a little text description. So I'm just going to add this to a new sheet. Okay, now it's inserted a pivot table. It's filtered it for the top 3 and it's sorted it by quantity descending. And that's exactly what I was after. Now let's try what are the top 3 items in terms of margin. I'm unable to determine the top 3 items in terms of margin with the current data. Could you provide the formula for margin calculation? So let's say add a margin column. I'm not going to write it. How about you write it? All right, and it gives me this preview, and it's basically calculating the margin, but it's not applying that to the quantity. So let's say the margin needs to be the total margin for the transaction. Okay. And here it calculates the total margin for each item by subtracting the cost from the price and then multiplying by the quantity sold. This looks more like what I want. So let me go ahead and insert this column. Great. Now let's say this. What are the top 3 items in terms of total margin? So what we see is a draft of what looks to be like a pivot table, which I can add to a new sheet, and then also a little description. Let's go ahead and add this to a new sheet. All right, let's widen this out. Let's zoom in. And as we can see, we have sum of total margin and then the top 3. And so this is creating a draft of a pivot table, which if it looks good, we can just use it. Otherwise, we're free to edit the pivot table as desired. For example, I can go into value filters, select top 10, and maybe instead of the top 3, maybe I really want the top 5. But at least it gets the basic pivot table started for us. All right, so those are a couple of ways that Copilot can help us understand the data in our workbooks. Hopefully this has been helpful. Thanks for joining me. Have a great day. If you use Excel frequently, I'd love to help you improve your skills. I'll help you learn Excel so you can get your work done faster. I'd love to have you check out my training programs. Use the link in the description to learn more. Hello and welcome to Copilot 3. My name's Jeff. I'm glad you're here. Let's just jump right in. In this short video, we're going to look at some of the edit and ask prompts that we can use with Copilot. So let's go ahead and get started with the first exercise, exercise 1. In this exercise, we have some names and scores. We'd like to highlight the top 3 scores. Maybe we're not sure how, so let's see if Copilot can help. Copilot. Now before I type in our prompt, let's just take a look at this View Prompts button, and here we can see we have Create, Understand, Edit, and Ask. We can go into Edit, and these are the kinds of prompts that we can use. So we want to ask Copilot to highlight the top 3 scores. Okay, and it says, looking at B8 to C22, here's a conditional formatting rule to review and apply. Top 3 items. And if this looks like what I want, I can just go ahead and click Apply. And what it's actually doing is it's actually applying conditional formatting, which is awesome. Because rather than highlighting the top 3 scores as of right now, since there's a conditional formatting rule, if the scores change, it's going to dynamically update that formatting. For example, let's say Robert retakes the test and he gets 100. As we can see, the conditional formatting dynamically adjusts that formatting. And if we want to make any changes to this conditional formatting rule, what we can do is just go to Conditional Formatting, Manage Rules. And this is the rule that was set up by Copilot. And it's a first draft. We can always make changes if we don't like it. For example, we could edit rule, we could change the formatting, and we could even change the number of scores. Maybe we want 5. And maybe instead of yellow, we'd prefer the fill to be orange. We can click OK. And OK. So Copilot was able to basically set up the basic conditional formatting framework, and then we could always make changes as desired. Let's go to the next exercise, exercise 2. Let's say we have some names and scores, and let's say we want to do some sorting or filtering on this range instead. So let's say filter this table to show the top 5 scores. Okay, and it says here's a change to review and apply a top 5 filter. If we like it, we can click apply, and now this has been filtered. Let's go ahead and undo. Let's say filter the table to only show scores greater than 50. All right, it says sure, here's a filter to apply. We click apply, and now we've got it. All right, let's go ahead and undo. And what about sorting? Sort the table descending by score. All right, we can click apply. And now it's sorted by score. Now, at the end of the day, if I was going to sort this, I probably would not use Copilot personally because I know how to sort and how easy it is to sort, so I would have done the sort command manually. But the point is we can see the direction of this, which is that we can use natural language to ask Copilot to do commands on our workbook, which can be very helpful for users. All right, let's go to the next exercise. Exercise 3. In this exercise, we're going to ask Copilot to explain a formula that we encounter. So for example, we open this workbook, we see this data range, and then we come across this formula. And we don't understand the function, and we don't understand the function arguments. So let's see if Copilot can help explain this for us. I'm going to select this formula, and I'm going to do a Control-C copy. Then I'm going to come over here, and I'm going to say, Copilot, please explain this formula. And I'm going to Control-V paste. And it breaks down exactly what this function does and each of its function arguments. This formula calculates the total amount from the amount column in the table, where department column equals 100. SumIfs, that's the function, is used to sum values that meet multiple criteria. Table 3, amount, that's the first argument, specifies the range to sum, so that's the column of numbers we're adding. The next argument, table 3, department num, specifies the range to evaluate for the criteria. And 100 is that criteria. So it's saying add up the values in the amount column, but only include those rows where the department number column is equal to our department. And this is the breakdown that it's able to provide. So I don't know about you, but sometimes I open up a workbook that someone else created and I encounter a formula and I'm like, what is this thing doing? And so now we can see that Copilot can help explain those types of formulas for us. All right, and those are a couple of types of prompts for editing and asking questions of Copilot. Hopefully this has been helpful. Thanks for joining me. Have a great day. Hey Excel user, if you ever need to create summary reports, check out my Pivot Table for Beginners video. It starts at the beginning and shows how to store the data transactions in a table and then how to summarize those transactions with a pivot table report. I hope it helps unlock the incredible power of pivot tables.
This video is a production of Excel University.